Right, so I think it's important that we look where the new generation of the Van Reets are going to be. It's a shame really that the other loft should be closing down after 70 years, but pigeon racing in the Van Reet family will continue. Ronnie, this is his home here, and this is the new loft that he's going to fly with his partner Luke. But here they're going to fly old pigeons in the short and middle distance. Over at Luke's loft, they will be flying young pigeons in short and middle distance. Is that right?
Yes.
And here it will be Van Reet, Van Meerbergen, and at your loft with the young pigeons it will be Van Meerbergen, Van Reet. Is that right?
Just.
And staff is going to be the general manager of everything, is it? And tell you all how to do it.
Supervision.
Supervision, yeah. Not scraping, no scraping the floor.
No, never scraping.
No.
Maybe.
Never ruin
maybe.
Don't ruin a habit of a lifetime. He's never done it before, so he should do it. Supervision is enough. So, this loft, Ronnie, you're going to have 4 sections.
4 sections.
16 cocks in each section, with a corridor down the front here, so you can walk along. And Emil has just pointed out that this wood here, plywood, you can smell it, and so it's not good. So you're going to take that out and put the Canadian pine in, which has no smell to it at all. Because as we all notice when you walk in, you can just smell the wood, and that's not good, is it? No. And there's a man of experience, Emil. He's had lofts for the last 50 or 60 years, so it's important that for Ronnie that he should listen. But myself, I've always thought that if you're going to build new lofts, particularly in England, and you're going to use new wood, you should make sure that it is kiln dried. That takes all the resin out of the wood, and then you can't smell it, and the pigeons are then comfortable. But if you've got brand new wood in a loft, and you close the loft down, and the resin's coming out of the wood, you will never ever get your pigeons into condition at all, and that is an absolute positive factor. Okay, you can have a new loft and have air coming into it, that's okay, but once you close the loft down, you have problems with the pigeon's eyes until such time as all the resin's finished coming out of the wood. Another safety precaution, of course, is that if it's new wood and you haven't had it kiln dried, you should make sure that you paint it. That's very important, because that helps to keep the resin in as well. So, a lot of work to be done here, Ronnie.
Yes.
When do you think you'll be finished?
I hope to be finished in the beginning of January.
Beginning of January. And staff, you're pairing up in late November, so the pigeons will be, young pigeons will be coming across here when?
They don't come here, eh?
They go to look.
First round goes to look.
And second and third round are coming here, so that will be about March time. So have plenty of time to get the loft ready. Yes. And then just a little bit of racing with the young pigeons this year. And then the year after as yearlings, you can start work properly.
Then it starts properly.
So what's going to happen? You're going to help Luke, and Luke's going to come and help you, and Dad's going to supervise the lot. That should be interesting. So look now, if we can just pop across to your loft and have a look at that, and then we know where the whole Van Reet family are going to be involved, and you as well.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
April, not
May, June, July.
May, June.
Yeah.
July. That's important for the young.
We're now standing in the loft, and this loft used to have, as you can see, 12 widowwood boxes in it. But in future, Luke, do you want to explain what you're going to do?
The idea is we want to set here the 30 young pigeons, cocks. It's just cocks.
Just 30 young cocks, yeah.
They must take a place.
Yeah, so there's 24 places.
24 places. A few places here and there. And then we learn them.
Yeah.
And then when they learned, we play them.
Widowhood.
Widowship, yeah. The best of 12 pigeons that we think, and we think that are the best. They go the full widowship as young bird.
With an old hen.
With an old hen.
You bring some old hens in.
An old hen, and let them together 5 days.
Eggs.
Breeding, and then full widowship. Normally it's the best system in Belgium, we think.
And how long will you fly those pigeons? They will begin to fly racing
They begin to fly May.
May time.
May.
End of May. Middle.
Middle May.
15
but
May, yeah.
we want.
For later, for widowship later.
Yes.
So when will they be on widowhood? May.
Widowhood June. June.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And the main races are in July, August for the nationals.
The middle distance is Juni, Juli, and August for the national championship. That was in '99 second and in 2000 10th.
Yeah. So last year in the national championships, flying here, you were second in the national championship.
In '99, I was second
in the national championships. Yes. With young pigeons.
Yes, with young.
And in '98.
'98, no.
Nothing. In this year.
This year in 2000 I was 10th.
Yeah, that's good performances.
The system's normally not better, but in sports you never know.
No.
You never know.
So I'll just run through the system again very quickly. Luke's going to put 30 young cocks in here very early in the year, about late January time. The boxes will be like so. So that will give 24 places there. And probably 8 perches down there, so that will give us 32, and there will be 30 cocks in here. He will select 12 of those cocks, and then they will take up the position in like a normal widowhood box would be, like that. So there'll be 12 widowhood cocks in 12 boxes. He will then bring along 12 old widowhood hens, pair them to these cocks, allow them to sit for 5 days, then the 12 young cocks that are in here will be on widowhood, and they will start to fly widowhood late June through till the end of August, very early September time. This is the first year you've done it, look, first year?
No, first year.
First year, so we'll be interested to see how he performs. For those of you that buy the racing pigeon, I'll report on his successes or failures, whichever it may be, and I'm sure it'll be successes, in the column around Antwerp, so it'll be interesting to see how we go throughout the year. Right, we're now back in England in the studio. I thought for the sake of accuracy that we should go through a number of points and cover them properly. For that reason I've asked my friend Bert Hessian to come along, because Bert, right from the off, i.e. 1984 when Bert and I visited STAF and REET to purchase the pigeons, he's made an in-depth study of the family of pigeons that STAF has, and he'll be able to give us some inside information on that today. Add to which I'm very concerned that the feeding method that STAF described should be made completely accurate for everybody in case you do want to try the system. Now, this system of feeding pigeons with a barley base was used by Bert Hessian and I in the years 1985, 86, 87, 88 and 89, and I think it's fair to say that during those periods we did have some magnificent performances with the pigeons. We stopped using the system in 1989 because Bert had a problem with fungal spores in his pigeons, and the consultant he went to see suggested that these fungal spores could be coming from the barley which we fed. So we decided to stop using the system. However, having now spent 8 or 9 years without the system, both Bert and I have decided to go back on it. There are 2 types of barley. There's the ordinary malting barley, which is there in that container, and there in that container, there, is malt. Now, malt is that barley which has gone through a process at the brewery, or prior to it going into the brewery for the beer to be made, and what happens is this: it is force sprutted, so it's put in a large room and sprayed with warm water. The room is heated, and that forces the barley to sprut quickly. It is then moved out of that room into another room where it is dried very quickly. And once the barley has dried, it takes all the starch out of it, and it then releases all the sugars. Now, I found out in 1984 from a tippler flyer that if you use barley and feed tipplers on barley or malt, which is this, they will fly for 10 hours. If you feed them normal malting barley, which is that, they will fly for 7 hours. So Bert and I, having discussed this, decided we'd give this malt a try. Because of my contacts in the brewery business and the business that I'm in, I was able to get hold of this malt. And the difference is that if you take normal barley and you try to chew it, you have to really chew it. But when you take this, as Bert will tell you, it's like, it's just like Weetabix, isn't it? Sweet. And there's no doubt about it, pigeons fed on this are absolutely fantastic. Now the first point I want to make is this: please don't phone me for malt, because I can't get it in bulk. I can just get enough for my own use and that of Bert as well. In fact, during those years we flew on it, Bert was always on the phone to me to say, don't forget to get those couple of bags of malt for me, will you? And he used to come across to my house at Stannington to pick them up. Good days those. So it is difficult to get hold of, and you've got to find a brewer really who's able to produce it for you. So remember, that is called malt. Now, the system that Staff used, he described well to you. He used to have food in the hopper, and by the way, this is a Bert Hessian hopper. Bert's made me many of these over the years. It's quite simple. Is that a drain pipe, Bert? What is that? Yeah, piece of guttering, and it's just made very simply so that the pigeons can't stand on the top of it, and you can have it any length, so you don't have to pay for it.
Very hygienic.
Yeah, it is, because it is, Bert. Yeah, because you can wipe it out easily, can't you? Probably I should have done that before I brought it here today. So what happens is that the way the Van Reet method is that barley is before the pigeons all the time, apart from on the day of basketing. You must remember one thing about Staff, and Bert will confirm this: he only flew Kivrain, Bert, didn't he?
Yeah.
Odd times he'd fly Noyon, but it was mostly Kivrain, wasn't it?
All the time.
Kivrain up there, I think it's about, was it 80 miles, Bert? I think it's about 80 miles to Mull.
Well,
it is round about 80 miles to Mull.
Yeah.
The other thing that's important is that the pigeons were always home round about 10 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
The staff would take the pigeons to the club on a Saturday night at round about 6. You can take them from the hours between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock on a Saturday, and they're home at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. I want you to bear that in mind when we go through this method in detail. So, basically, when the pigeons come home, Staff used to give them a little bit of seed on the perch and then into the hen. Then the only thing the pigeons had on the day they came home was this hopper on the floor before them, which was full of barley. Staff then, as I explained to you, that he used to take his tablespoon and give them a small portion on a Monday, a little bit more on a Tuesday, gradually building it up to Thursday night. Bert and I tried to do it a little more scientifically. You used to take a teaspoon, Bert, didn't you?
Yeah, I use a teaspoon.
Yeah, and because...
And a soup spoon.
And a soup spoon as well, yeah.
A dessert spoon.
Yeah. Because Diane helped me a lot with the pigeons in those days, and we wanted to be accurate, I made some measures, and these might be interesting for you. That measure there holds approximately 1 ounce of corn. It is approximately 30 mils. It's a 30 mil liquid measure, and it holds 1 ounce of corn. I cut that one down to hold 3/4 of an ounce, and that one to hold 1/2 ounce, and that one to hold approximately 1 ounce. So, what I used to do, and Bert will tell you his system in a minute, but what I used to do is I used to have the hopper of barley on the floor, and in each nest box I had a pot, small galley pot. My pigeons didn't go out on a Sunday. When they came back from the race on a Saturday, they didn't go out on a Sunday. I was able to give them a bath in the loft at Stannington because I had a corridor, so the pigeons stayed in and they had a bath in the loft. Then whenever my pigeons went out, they went out for 1 hour on each evening between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Staff told you that he used to let his out for 1.5 hours, and how he built the corn up. So you know that he gradually built the corn up till the day of basketing. But the day of basketing, the barley went out of the hopper and the mixed corn came in. No barley in the hopper, just mixed corn. Incidentally, I think the cameraman will be able to pick that up. That's a racing mixture. It is in fact the Shoemaker's Concord mixture, which is, I think, is ideal for sprint racing. And you can use this method successfully up to about 150 miles without any problem, and 250 miles if the weather's right. Would you agree with that? 200 miles if the weather's right.
Provided it's not too hard.
Yeah, providing the racing isn't too hard. So, Staff's method, as I've explained to you, was a gradual build-up from barley. But you must remember that barley's before the pigeons all the time, and therefore the pigeons were never hungry. Whenever he let them out to exercise, they used to exercise because they weren't hungry. And he exercised them with the windows closed. Bert exercised with his doors closed, so did I. When we opened the doors, as Staff, when he opened the windows, the pigeons came in, and the corn, the good corn, like there for instance is half an ounce, would be in the galley pot or waiting in the nest box. Not sufficient half an ounce of corn there for a pigeon in a day that's taken an hour's exercise, but then he would go down and take the barley, whatever barley he needed, from the hopper. And as I said, that it was gradually built up so that each day there was a little more corn. For me, on a Monday it was half an ounce, Tuesday 3/4 of an ounce, Wednesday 1 ounce, Thursday 1.5 ounces, and then all day Friday until 2 hours before I basketed the pigeons, the corn was before them. Bert, did you do it similar, or were you slightly different?
Well, I use the barley mixed 60-40
Yeah.
with the plain malting barley and the malted barley. And I had that in the hopper all the time, even on a Friday. And on a Friday I put, they got a tablespoon of mixture in the morning, first thing in the morning, and then they got another one at lunchtime, and then at 1 o'clock everything was cleared away, the barley, the food, any food was taken away.
So as I used to take mine away at 4, you took yours away at 1?
Yeah.
What time did you basket?
We basketed about 6 till 7.
Yeah, I basketed at 7:30 till 8, yes.
One thing I did do was when the pigeons came back, the barley was in the hopper as it was for all the rest of the week. I gave them a spoonful of mixture.
On the return?
On the return, yeah, to give them some protein.
Yeah.
I never ever used brewer's yeast or anything like that.
Well, I did, as you know. That's something I forgot to mention, actually. On the day back from the race, I used to have brewer's yeast and glucose on the barley. So that was probably the difference there.
Yeah. I found that even on that system, it was very basic for pigeons racing, but I always found that they flew better when you didn't give them any additives in the water or anything.
Yeah.
I would give them, and I'd get fed up, and the pigeons would race better.
Yeah, but the one thing we both used to use a lot of was garlic, wasn't it?
Garlic, yeah.
Garlic, probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So there, basically, is Staff's system, which Bert used and I used, and I hope that today, this morning, we've made it quite clear exactly how Staff operated his system. It was a very simple system, and it was designed around his lifestyle, and all it required really was 1.5 hours a day watching his pigeons exercise, because whilst the pigeons were out for exercising, you could clean the loft and you can put the necessary amounts of sport mixture into the galley pot in the nest box, or as Staff used to do, just in the corner of the nest box. Is there anything else we can add to that?
Well, not exactly to the feeding day, but if anybody did use this barley, we could just tell them how to keep it, instead of getting the problem that I had.
Yeah.
It mustn't be kept in Hessian sacks. If it's kept in a bin, it must be sealed, because it's very, very dry. Very dry, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And if you leave it exposed, it'll absorb all moisture from the air. Well, the barley, and that'll cause it to go off, and that is when you start getting problems
with fungal spores.
Yeah. It's like aflatoxins in peanuts and things like that. It's same as peanuts as well. Should be sealed in plastic bags.
Correct.
Airtight if possible, and it's the same with the malted barley. you must protect it against moisture and things like that.
But there's no doubt about it, but I think if fanciers do try, and it is ideal up to 150 miles racing, you will notice with this method that your pigeons come very clean underneath.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are clean demonstrates that they're in good health.
Yeah.
That's true, that, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Now, the other thing I wanted the fanciers to be exactly clear about was Staff's pigeons and his lofts, etc. The small loft in which there were 6 pigeons raced, including Daniel, the Prince, and the Dicker Prince, those 3 pigeons between them won 115 first prizes. And in that loft, where the 6 nest boxes were, Staff won 500 first prizes in a period of 10 years. Now, the background to Staff's pigeons goes back to 1961, doesn't it, Bert?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain to the viewers? Yeah.
Well, it all started with Staff's grandfather, who was a very successful fancier. He raised a family of Jansen pigeons, which he obtained from a friend who lived 15 miles from Mull. This friend bought them direct from Jansen's, so they were very good Jansen pigeons. He was very successful, as Staff presented Dave and myself with this picture of what his grandfather won in 1929. His name was Alphonse Sneers. And when Staff became about 6 years old, he was never away from his grandfather's pigeon loft. They was inseparable, the two of them, going to pigeon functions and pigeon auctions and all over together. And Staff grew up like that, with his grandfather racing the pigeons with him. And unfortunately, in 1961, when Staff was about 25, his grandfather passed away. All the pigeons were put up for auction, and Staff attended the auction and bought the 7 best pigeons. These were Jansen pigeons. In 1963, Staff turned to Fabry and purchased 16 eggs, which he put into his Jansen pigeons. And he became friendly with the Jansen brothers, visited their lofts every year and bringing back 1 or 2 pigeons. In 1967, he got a pigeon from Jansen's, which was a half Fabry, because the Jansen brothers had used Fabry in their pigeons as well. So Staff got the half Fabry pigeon, called the Jansen of '69, if I remember rightly.
No, wasn't he Jansen of 67?
I'm sorry, Dave.
Wasn't he?
Yeah,
Jansen
yeah.
67,
Yeah, Jansen of '67, and he bred the Jansen Duyven of '69.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now that was the pigeon, wasn't it? That was the mother.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest producers, hen producers, that anyone could possibly have. It's a more than once in a lifetime pigeon.
Yeah. Because she was the mother of...
she was the mother of...
Daniel,
yeah.
Dicker Prince, the Prince,
yeah,
etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Those 3 pigeons, again, between them, won 115 first prizes.
Yeah.
Sorry about I interrupted.
Well, at that time, during the 60s, the Shoemaker brothers, they gave a token with each bag of corn.
That's right, yeah.
Staff saved the tokens up, I think it was 50 tokens, and he went along to the breeding station to select a pigeon. Well, there's only Van Rieck could do this, because there's one thing about Staff. He is a wonderful selector of pigeons.
That's right. I did in fact mention that in Belgium. When we were in the loft, we were handling some pigeons together, and I think I said to the viewers then, there's no doubt about it, Staff's a great selector.
Yeah, I used to like it when we used to go, and Staff used to have a pigeon. We used to go to other people's lofts. Staff were looking for a cross to bring in, and we'd been with him. He just put his fingers
He used to run it
underneath and
through
close
like
his
that,
eyes,
yeah,
didn't he?
yeah.
And where was we up to then?
Well, we were just saying he was a great selector of pigeons, and when he went to the shearmaker, he selected a good pigeon.
He had to go to the breeding station, select a pigeon out of probably hundreds. And this he did, picking out a red cock of Hermans of Luthagen.
And again, Bert, if I can just interrupt there,
Yeah.
I've said to the viewers that those that will have taken the Marcellus video and those that take this video, there is a common denominator between the Reds or the Mealies and the Mealies in Van Riet's family and in Marcellus's family, in that they all originate from Hermans of Luthagen in Antwerp. And Hermans of Luthagen, all the pigeons he had were direct from Brickell, and they were long-distance pigeons.
Yeah.
But that's where the Mealies come from. He
Yeah.
selected this wonderful Mealie, didn't
Yeah.
he, from the shearmaker.
It's the same with it's the same with the Fabridae, unseen pigeons, long distance pigeons,
yeah.
just the same.
To be brought into sprinting, yes.
So Staff picked the red cock of Hermans of Luthagen pigeon, and 2 years later, in 1967, I think it was, he produced a pigeon which was a very heavy pencil.
Yeah.
In Belgium they call it Cz.II.
Cz.II pencil, yeah.
And this pigeon had white flights, and Staff called him the Cz.II whip pen.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose Staff, going through his pigeons, how he did, handling how he did, he selected Cz.II whip pen to pair to the Janssen Duyven of 69.
Yeah.
And that was the pair
that
produced Daniel Prinz,
and
Dicker Prinz. I think they stayed together, those two pigeons, but they were phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went to Grand Large round about, I think it was 82 and 83, we saw that pigeon, the Stuka.
Yeah.
He took us into a section of his loft which had 16 nest boxes, and I think there were about 9 or 10 cocks in, and he passed us this pigeon, the Stuka. This is before we went to Van Riet's.
Yeah.
You remember handling him, a pencil cock with, I think he got a white feather, and there were a lot of pigeons in that loft, and they were all bred out of, was it the Prince of Van Riet?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, because Grandelar bought the Prince, didn't he?
He did.
From Van Riet. Because Grandelar's always said he was looking for fast pigeons. They were fantastic pigeons, those in that loft. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think Grandelar, who himself was a fantastic fancier, some of his best pigeons came from Van Riet.
Yeah,
from
quite
Staff.
right. Yeah, quite right. Yeah.
Because there's no doubt about it, Dave, Staff Van Riet was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean,
for me, he's a pigeon man right to the tips of his toes.
yeah, he is. There's no doubt about it. I mean, as you said earlier on, when you and I have been with him to different lofts, and during the period of sort of 84, 85, 86, we went to a stack of lofts with him, didn't we? Looking at pigeons, we went to Remedy Maze, we went all over the place, some of the fancies that people in this country will now know about. And I think every fancy that he goes to had a great respect for his ability to select pigeons.
Do you remember when we went to Peter Halen?
I do, the long distance man at Popple, yeah.
I was seasick.
Yeah, I remember, we've been on the boat, it was a bad day.
Yeah, from Hull. I believe we got from Hull.
Yeah.
But those pigeons were like some of the old bush horse. They were magnificent specimens.
They were,
Big heads, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And Staff Stirs from Giel had that one from him.
Yeah,
Crossed it with the Van Riet's and had a lot of success.
that's correct, yes.
So Staff took us to
have a look at the pigeons,
have a look at the pigeons with a view to introducing them into his own.
That's right, yeah.
But he didn't, when we jumped in the car going, he didn't get any pigeons. We all jumped in the car to go back, and Staff said, "They are too beautiful, they will not win.
Yeah.
You want races."
That's right.
That was his
That's
words.
right, and that's what he had, and that's what he's always done. If he's, I mean, he flew with Verbruggen when they had that fantastic national performance, where I think they started at either 3rd or 4th and had 7 pigeons in about the first 30 from Limoges in the national. He's flown with Verstappen over the last probably 15 years, again won a national, and Staff's always used the best pigeons to bring to his best pigeon. If it's been a female pigeon, he's brought it to his, and his best out of best. I noticed when we were handling some of his pigeons in his kitchen when we were over there, he brought out a beautiful blue pied cock, and he handed it to me, and he said, this is out of one of his best pigeons. I forget which one it was. I think it's the one that Dean Pallett now has. And he paired it before letting Dean have it. He paired it to the national winner, or the daughter of the national winner, at Verstappen's place.
Yeah.
And he produced this beautiful blue pied cock. And sure enough, it's filled his loft with winners. So it just emphasises what you've already said, that he's a great selector of pigeons.
Yes.
But I think that one of the main attributes of the Van Reet family of pigeons is the fact that they've got a terrific immune system, because you know, Bert, he never treated his pigeons for anything, did he?
No.
Not for anything at all.
No.
And we tried, probably 2 or 3 years we've been out drinking with him at night, and I used to say, there must be something he's using there. He can't get these performances like this.
Yeah.
And we've all been out, and we've all been drunk, and we've got up next morning and he said, well, did you find out anything?
Yeah.
And the answer's always been no. And we've finally come to the conclusion that there wasn't anything. It was just his ability to select good pigeons.
Do you remember when staff used to say, will you let them out 2 times a day? It was yes, yes. He said, well, if you do, you'll fly better than me, because
Yes, he
mine
did,
only
yeah.
go
Right,
out
once a day, yeah. Well, he designed his system around his lifestyle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because in those days he used to go out till probably 1, 2 and 3 in the morning, go to bed at 4 and 5 in the morning, and get up round about lunchtime or just after. And then he used to let his pigeons out from 4:30 till 6 o'clock and go in the cafe across the road to watch them exercise, didn't he? And that's how he said to us, that's how he used to pick his pigeons out that he wanted.
You know how we talked of the Cz.II whip ban and the Janssen-Duyven of '69?
Yeah.
Well, it's obvious when you see the results of the offspring that they were 2 of the greatest producers of all time.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's definitely no children of that.
No.
That
No.
now.
But you've got the...
Have we got something?
Yeah, you know, you brought one of your old pigeons across. Which, how old is he now, Bert?
18.
18 years old. Did you start filling his eggs?
Yeah. He doesn't even have hen. He's not even paired up.
But the one common thing with a lot of the Daniel line of pigeons, Bert, they used to stop filling when they were sort of 8 and 9 and 10 years old, because we had that problem as well, didn't we? Or not so much a problem.
I think this fellow went on to 14. He's now 18 years old.
They look well.
That is young stuff. He was the sire of my loft.
Yeah.
And you remember he was the first old pigeon I bought from Staff.
I do, yeah.
And
Good balance of the pigeon is beautiful. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
We went into the stock loft and there were 4 brothers, including Elif.
Yeah, the Elif.
And I picked him.
That's 11. Yeah.
He's a direct son of Dicker Prince, winner of 26 first, which was off the Janssen-Duyven of '69 and Cz.II whip ban. He is a grandson.
I wonder if our cameraman can just get a close-up of something that I would like to show the viewers. If you can get a close-up of that wing there, look at primaries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7. Now, Jan Grondelar always used to say that when a pigeon's wing is spread, that they should be very close together. Primaries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From the step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those flights should lay very close together. Very close together. Now, Grondelar was absolutely adamant about that, and strangely enough, so is Staff Van Reet, so there must be something in it. But he's a beautiful pigeon, him, Bert. He's still in good health, isn't he?
18.
Yeah, he's lovely. He's lovely. I won't handle him a lot because he's getting old. We don't want to stress him too much. Find him a nice old egg.
No, I don't think he bothers. He just, I put him in the stock loft and he just plays around.
And he's happy
There's
there.
nothing coming from him.
Yeah.
So
He's happy there.
The funny thing is, Dave, you know Roy Holt.
Yeah.
Roy came and he went and looked at my stock pigeons. There's one there doesn't look too clever. I said, go on, Roy, which is that one? He said, that one there. I said, well, he's a right not to feel clever, Roy. Yeah. I said, it's middle of winter and he's 18 years old.
Yeah. No, he's fabulous. Yeah,
He is. I love him.
Yeah.
He'll stay there till the end.
So I think I hope that that has given you a little insight into the background of how Staff built his family up. I hope we've tried to explain a little bit more about how the pigeons were fed during that wonderful period when he won 500 first prizes. And just finally, all I can say is that, as you all know, that loft of Staffs in Belgium is actually going to close down, and it's terrible. It's a real shame that after about 80 years of racing there are going to be no pigeons there. The Staff's 65 now, and he's decided that he's not going to keep pigeons there himself. He's going to assist his son Ronnie, and he's going to assist Ronnie's partner Vermeerberg and Luke. The pigeons are going to be sold. I can tell you now they're going to be sold in England, and they'll be sold at the Old Comrade Show at Doncaster next year. That'll be a very sad time, but at least the English fanciers will get the opportunity to have a go at Staff's 20 pair of breeders, and I think now he's probably got about 30 pairs of racers, plus the fact that I said he's going to breed a round of summer youngsters from the lot. So it should be exciting times for fanciers in England next year. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope we've covered all the points that you would wish to know. Enjoy your pigeons.